there, my friends. Welcome to the Glow Up Method. For those of you who are new, what is the Glow Up Method? The Glow Up Method is where we share stories, life resources, tools, our personal development successes and failures, all in this pursuit to live this life of our own individual dreams, to live from the inside out. My name is Natasha, and I am so honored and excited to be here with you today. Today, we are talking about preparation. So I am about to embark on a cruise for the first time for 11 days. This cruise is significant because I've always wanted to go on a cruise. I've said on here before, I had this full retirement plan of living aboard a cruise ship. I would be on cruise ships for 3 weeks out of a month. 1 week, I would then visit one child and their family, stay in a hotel so I was close, but not too close to get on the in-laws' nerves, right? So then I would get time with the grandkids, get time with the kids, move on to the next adventure for 3 weeks, go to the next child. So this was really my plan. I was like, it's perfect. There's no cooking. There's no cleaning. There is waking up in a different place every day. Yes, we're talking ocean, love the beach, right? Love the water. And suddenly COVID hit. And I was like, what in the heck? My plan here for retirement did not include pandemics or, then I started like deep diving on this. It was like, oh my gosh, there's like norovirus thing. Like there's like crazy things that occur on these cruise ships. Oh my gosh. And for a germaphobe like me, they are just absolutely little petri dishes, aren't they? So got a little bit freaked out about it and was like, don't know, may have to reevaluate the retirement plan. But thankfully I've got a lot of time before I retire. So we've got time for that. So, it would be kind of important to probably like experience a cruise before I'm committing all in to this, plan of, living on a cruise ship, right? So I get this opportunity. My dad and his new wife are going on a cruise. They are avid cruisers. So they get this phenomenal deal that I literally could not pass up. Like it was too good to be true. And so I was like, I'm in. Yes. So many times it's like, let me check the schedule, but I don't know what this person might have to do. My kids might need me. Oh my gosh, we're knee deep in physical therapy still. And I was like, no more saying no to you in what you want to do and yes to everyone else. You can have it both ways. Like you can say no to others and you can say yes to you, but it doesn't mean you have to always say no to others. Like, find the balance place, find what works for me. So I was like, yes. And I committed, I put the credit card down, done, signed, sealed, and delivered. And it seems so far away, right? You look in the app and each day the countdown, scooting out of here, scooting back in, getting something to drink here. But, the countdown is going down and like, we are in single digit numbers now. So, I'm preparing, right? I'm trying to get ahead of my scheduling because again, like I said, originally I was like, okay, well, I'm doing this whole like YouTube and potentially podcasting and I can't start like publishing them if I'm going to then be gone for 11 days. So I kept delaying it. And I kind of had this mental benchmark that I would begin the publication once I returned from this cruise. But then I was listening to this fascinating book and something made this connection in me. And I was like, and I've listened to this book 3 times. Like this has been my go-to book of 2024. And since I listen at 2 times speed, I pick something up each time. But there was something about the way he had said what he had said. He was talking about also like a launch of his thing, which happened to correspond with my daughter's birthday. And it was like this light bulb freaking moment. And it was like, yes, this is the alignment I'm talking about. This is it. This is it. This is it. And it was like, I had less than 2 weeks to act. And I hadn't even like really investigated what it was like to upload a video or create a thumbnail. Like I was like, okay. And so the first few days I was just getting around like, okay, I have this. And then when my kids are like, okay, mom, when you're really gonna launch, we've got this many videos and you don't even have one yet. And I hear you every day in there, recording. And I'm like, I will, it's a process. Like I am on my own timeline. And so I will get there. It's not that I am not going to. It just, I needed the time to be perfect, right? Guilty as charged. And I felt like I needed a lot of preparation. I felt like a lot of things needed to do it. And finally I was like, no, this is the point. This is the whole point. It is not about the perfection. It is about the progress. It's not about the results. It's about the action. It's about the habit. So it all came together. We launched on my birthday. So I'm going to share a birthday with my channel. How freaking cool is that? Love it, love it, love it, love it. But I'm about to embark on something I haven't done before. So as much fun as it is, it's a little intimidating. What do I wear? What kind of shoes? How much clothes do I bring? You know, I mean, I don't have too much because it's just myself, but like, you know, do I need extra chargers? You know, what level of work do I want to do? Do I need a book? I need my Jackie O big hat and sunglasses. And currently my sunglasses keep falling off my head. And sometimes when I look at the shorts, I'm like, I think my glasses are a little bit on the crooked side. I don't think it's my head. So I need to order me a new pair of glasses. And I'm just thinking, you know, here I'm trying to be prepared so that I'm not scared, so that I am confident as I go on that ship and I don't have to have any regrets. But sometimes we try to get it perfect, right? Like, do you remember, or maybe you currently are doing this, like you're preparing, right? You're pregnant and you're preparing a nursery, or you're preparing what the name is. You're preparing, you know, buying clothes and diapers. You know, you're trying to be prepared so that you can navigate this new scenario with the most confidence possible. And so sometimes I'm very guilty of this, of doing this analysis paralysis, where I'm researching everything, looking into everything, finding the perfect gear, finding this and doing the analysis, which stroller is better, which camera is better, which YouTube channel, you know, tool is better. You know, is it vidIQ or VidQ? I don't even know what they're called. A TubeBuddy, is it this? And which one's better for this genre? You know, like, so I get in all, because I'm a researcher. I love information and I love learning. So you put me in a situation where I can learn and I'm all in, right? As long as it's not like something crazy like mathematics and I'm like, I'm all out. Is what a calculator is for, or a mathematician. And that neither one of those things is me. So I end up thinking to myself, okay, fine. It is time to act. And, you know, I'm thinking today, because I'm about to embark on this cruise. So, of course, I'm letting my friends in the gym know, like, I'm not going to be here for a couple weeks, because some people, like, set out mats for me. Some people will save a spot for me. And I know we're not supposed to do this kind of stuff, but I think that they enjoy my energy and it pushes them a little bit harder. And so, you know, they are just being kind and they put me near them, you know, or I saved your spot. So I'm like, I'm not going to be here. And, you know, I just, so, you know, like, just so they're, you know, like, you know, you notice people like, I haven't seen this person in a while. I hope they're okay. You know, all these things. So you become kind of a community family. So I'm like, I'm gonna let them know. And they're like, oh, well, next question is, where are you going? Who are you going with? Which, again, I'm not like screaming from the mountaintops. I'm just now really getting more comfortable with my story of being a divorcee, or potentially in progress, right? Of a divorcee, of being a single mom. Like those concepts are really new to me. They were something that I really was opposed to. They were something that I was really wishing and hoping would not be synonymous with who I was. On paper, right? But in actuality, I have lost and released so much tension and pressure and expectations and stories based on one decision, that it has been one of the best decisions of my life. I'm so grateful for all the years, the 24 years we had together. Even though there were a lot of ups and a lot of downs, I'm grateful. I adore our kids. And I really do appreciate the process. I appreciate the lessons that were learned. And I appreciated where I can personally grow as a result of that relationship. And I really do mean it from the bottom of my heart. I mean nothing and wish nothing but the best for Chris. I really do hope he finds peace, love, support, everything he deserves and needs in this life. I really do hope he finds it. And I'm really sorry that it wasn't with me. But that doesn't mean it's not out there for him. So I say all that to say, for so many years, I knew in my gut I wasn't happy. Like I've said on here before, I would say things like, when it would be a really challenging interaction between the two of us, I would say, to myself, like as a mantra, because I wanted to just blow up. I wanted to be like, get out of my home, get out of my life. Like I really, really just wanted to blow up and just blow everything up, and it's in the thing, like in its path, whatever. And I decided not to. I would tell myself in that time, like as almost like an affirmation, as a sense of calming and re-regulating and calming myself down. I would say to myself, I love the kids more than I hate him. And I don't even like that word, so it like makes me cringe to say it, but that was the level of feelings I had towards him at those times. And a lot of it was feelings towards myself, and it was coming out on him, right? Like, and my lack of boundary and allowing myself to allow people to treat me like that. So, in some ways it's completely my fault. Like, and I'm not saying that to be a martyr or to be anything, is I want to learn. I want my next relationship, if I so choose to go into one, to be healthy. And I can only control me in my aspect. And so I need to be aware. I need to take off those blinders and see, what was my role in this relationship, and what things can I learn from and carry on into my next phases of life, and what things can I release and say, this behavior was not very beneficial to me, nor was it to the relationship as a whole, as a result. And so I would often say this. I would say this all the time, and to myself, like, I love them more than I dislike or hate him. And I really became comfortable with that, which parlayed into me believing, like, when I was back in 2020 and I just said, I can't do this marriage anymore. Like, I just can't. I cannot be my kids call this in their video gaming world. And so for us as non-gamers, it may not mean anything. It, to me, like, it more also, I'll tell you the next part that it really did. So they call them NPCs, non-playable character. They're like basically the extras in a movie or a TV show, right? But I felt like I was this NPC in what was supposed to be my partner, my soulmate, my lover, my best friend. Like, I had put a lot of real estate into the value of a marriage. And again, these are my sick and twisted, fantasies in my mind based on TV shows and books and novels. And this is where I created this ideology of this thing. And on every once in a while, you'd be out at a restaurant and you look over and you see this couple, and they were living what seemed like a fantasy. And so you're looking at your very non-fantasy, more nightmarish experience, and you're like, why? Like, why is my story not even close to this, what appears to be theirs? Of course, everything is different behind closed doors. Or if you talk to people and you see them, or, if they're sharing on Facebook, granted, take all this with a filter and a grain of salt, right? Because anybody can put whatever story they want out there. But it really gave me this belief that even if it's just the 1%, there are those relationships like I crave. There are the ones that are partnerships and friends and lovers and supporters. And I didn't have that in mind. And, I'm not going to blame Chris. I'm not going to blame me. I'm not going to blame anyone. It just was what it was. And so when I had came to that realization that, years had gone by, and despite me asking how his day was, it was never reciprocated. It really made this impact on me. And I felt really NPC. I felt like an extra. I felt like something that didn't matter, that didn't have a purpose beyond servicing them, and that they were the main character in this life. And I was just this peasly little, no offense to any extras out there or NPCs, like, no offense to them, but like, I was just an extra. forgettable, unrecognizable. And I just again, like I said, I had a friend who said I deserved happiness. And in that moment, I believed him. And it opened up my eyes that there was this possibility. And me being an NPC, me being an extra in somebody else's story and movie and plot line, it wasn't enough for me anymore. Like it wasn't enough. So, for a while when I began back, I was really able to say, well, I knew this, but it was so easy to go back to my default setting. It was so easy to prioritize the needs, the wants, the desires, the happiness of the 5 other people living within my home. And so I would often question myself, because here I was in this left-handed way thinking to myself, I'm not happy. I don't want to be here in this relationship anymore. And I'm willing to try, but I need honesty, and I need reciprocity, and I need genuineness, and I need vulnerability, and I need a partner. I need support. And I know I perceive myself as being really strong and not needing those things, but now I'm telling you, I need these things. And I know I've behaved and acted like I didn't for so long as a survival skill, because if I needed somebody and then they weren't there, that was double the hurt, right? Because, it's one thing to hurt, but then to hurt and then ask for help and then be denied. It's oh my gosh, I'm not even worthy of a little bit of support or love or kindness. So, it was this, I learned how to just not ask for, not want, not a requirement of having any kind of kindness or support or generosity shown to me. And if anybody did, I declined it, because I was so unfamiliar. It was so scary and intimidating. And so I would think to myself, the happiness of these 5 is greater than the happiness of 1. Come on, 5 is bigger than 1. And so my default hand was over here, really 5 of us, 1 of you, 5 of us, 1 of you. You are the mama martyr. And your job is to suffer. You get this pregnancies and sick kids, and you also get no sleep, and you are on call 24/7, and you will sometimes get a thank you or an ounce of appreciation, but most of the time you will not, and you will run yourself haggard and ragged and every other thing, and then the minute you try to do something nice for yourself, you're gonna feel so guilty because you do not deserve it. That's what the right hand thought. And I had this awakening. And the funny thing about an awakening is this: once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep again. And I tried, right? I tried to be quiet over here, you little one, trying to be happy and content and do self-care and explore who you are and discover and have an opinion and have a belief. And how dare you? You were just one. The 5 of us are more important and superior to you. So shh, quiet, you little one annoyance over here. And I really felt that was the way to go. And then that one was pestery. This little one over here, she's but wait a second, I have been hidden away for a really long time, and I have seen the light a little bit. I saw a little crack of it, and I kind of like the way it made me feel. When that sun hit me, I felt alive. I felt curious. I felt empowered and strong, and I just felt right. So the important thing for me next was to say, I don't like living with regret, right? I've expressed this on here, especially with how many, near deaths, everything I've been surrounded by. I really am very aware of the fragility of life and how precious each day is. Each day is a good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity to wake up today. Because again, like I said, many times over, we, of all the billions and billions of people ever born onto this planet called Earth, we are one of the few billions that got to wake up today. And think about that. And not all of us will get to go to sleep tonight and wake up again tomorrow. So really, really, I am aware of this fragility of life. I am quite aware of it. And so I didn't want to live with any regret. And so for me, it was really important to say, let bygones be bygones. and let's start fresh. Like for these 5, for this one too, right? Like let's let her into the mix, and let's work on this. Like, let's be raw, let's be honest, let's be vulnerable, and let's not hold each other like blame, right? That was where my intentions were. I can only control me. And I get it. He was hurt. He, like I said, what prompted the everything was that friend telling me that I deserved happiness, that like this much attention, that was like all of a sudden somebody was nice and kind and wanted to spend time with me, and suddenly I found myself like, oh my gosh, like I was a girl in a desert that hadn't drinking water in years, and I was like, yes, there is a water fountain right here and I am gonna go get some. But then there was that conscious part of me that I was like, listen, you're not a cheater, you're not a person that's gonna go out there and do something. Like, if you want to dissolve your marriage, you got to do it the right way. Like, you got to have that communication. You have to have that hard conversation. And I know as a little people pleaser like you, that's going to be really tough. So I decide this is it. I call emergency sessions with my therapist. We chat, I tell her the story, tell her what's going on in like these 4 days. And I'm telling you, it was ridiculous. Like, literally ridiculous how little communication was had for me to it was the happiness part that shifted me. It was the awareness that shifted me. It was this, I'm not all these disgusting things that my husband says I am. I am not ugly. I am not worthless. I am not unlovable. Like, and I get it. I haven't, like, don't even get mad at him. Like, I'm not mad at him, because hurt people. And I know for him, he's hurting. And I know for him that in order to make himself feel big, he needed to keep me small. He needed to believe in his mind that he was the bee's knees. He did everything right. And he needed to believe I was never going to go anywhere, despite me telling him I am loyal to a fault until I'm not. And then there is no turning back. And I told him this for 20 plus years. That is my personality. I will ride and die with you. But if that one thing happens, there is a switch, and I can never, ever, ever go back to that same level. And the sad part is that switch hit. Being shown something that I was that contradicted what he told me was, and I chose to believe, was an awakening moment for me. And so I will always hold a special place in my heart for that. And in that moment, I was really honest with Chris. And I was like, yes, I still want to be this person's friend. I don't want to go and be anything more, but I'd like to be their friend, because I was so craving this kindness. I was so craving this not wanting a single thing from me. And, that like benefited them, right? Like, everybody else in my life just wanted something from me. It felt like, not everyone, we're totally generalizing, but it felt like in this moment. And so I was really honest about that. And I get that really hurt Chris. And so, I am so honored and proud that I was loyal to who I was. Because I'm not going to lie, there was some urges within a girl. I mean, it'd been a long time since I had, rumbled in the sheets with anybody. Like, there was just, somebody likes me. Like, there was a desperation inside of me. And I'm really, really glad that I didn't act on it, because there were opportunities too. And I could have been like, yeah, here, come. And I can go and I'm really glad I didn't. And I'm really glad that I decided to be honest with Chris, even though it was pretty quick. My therapist was like, whoa, we weren't there yet. And I was like, I couldn't, it was eating me alive just from 4 days. And so, of just talking to somebody. And, it was really difficult for Chris. He then made up some stories, told the kids, oh my gosh, I've been having an affair, I'm meeting this person. Like, none of this stuff was true. So I had to then defend myself and be like, none of this is true. Like, you're making things up. And I get that this is your fear and your worries. Like, I'm coming to you with honesty, and this is the thing. And I think he really blamed that person as the reason why, instead of saying what was my role and what was her role, our roles in the destruction of this marriage and this union. So we really went and had some heart to hearts and was like, yeah, let's restart this. Let's let bygones be bygones. Let's come at it with honesty. So if he'd ask me a question, do you ever, still think about this person? I'm like, yes, he was very nice to me. He was nice, and he was like, oh, I'd like to see you. Whereas when I was with you, I'd be like, hey, do you want to go to the city with me? No, I don't want to go hang out with you. Like, nope, don't like the city. No, yeah, I don't want to do that. You go have fun. So it was like this completely opposite interaction. And I craved this acceptance, this love, this, even though it wasn't love, but like, it felt like love. It felt like I was not an NPC. It felt like I was like an actual character in the movie that had a name and something in the bio that was more than just extra number one. So again, I thought it was really critical for us to get into couples therapy, eventually him get into individual therapy, and as well as me continue my own individual therapy. We began doing dates, we began doing other things. And I think that was really important. It was really crucial to learn one another's story and have some compassion and empathy. But what I didn't know what was hiding behind door number 2 was there was still a lot of deceit. There was still a lot of dishonesty. At a time, I was being ultra vulnerable. I mean, I was saying things that I'm like, I know this is going to hurt him. I know this is going to potentially inflict some damage on the relationship, but it's my truth. And I need to speak my truth regardless of what somebody else's response is going to be. And as I was speaking my truth, he was feeding me lies. And so months later, when it came out, it was a devastating blow. It had taken me a long time to build up the trust and the security to get to that point. So for then something to come and just chop it at the ankles, it was so devastating. I have never recovered from that as much as I would have liked to, because it's just easy, right? So then I spent the next few years, on this roller coaster with him. And, I really came to this place where I started thinking about preparation and am I prepared to take on all the responsibilities of being a single mom? He's made it abundantly clear his contribution to this family and household as a whole is 0, which means even at his 10% or 2% or 20%, whatever it is he contributes now, that's completely eliminated. The whole weight of all this is on me alone. And so in some ways it has been, but in other ways it's not, right? Like every spider is now my job to get. Like every, we had that lizard gate over here. That is my deal now. Like beyond the financial, beyond the emotional, beyond the logistics, it's all on me. And that's a lot. And so I didn't feel prepared. I felt really scared. I felt really unconfident in some ways, but very confident in others because I know who I am and I know I will always land on my feet. And now I'm at a place where I am open and willing to accept support and admit I'm not perfect and I need help in these situations, like for my kids or whatever that live here, perhaps somebody from the outside. So as I embark on this journey and I'm doing my personal preparation, I've had to explain to a lot of people that yes, no, I'm not going with my significant other. We are recently separated. So this story has had to come up because I'm not going to lie and be like, yes, I'm going with my husband when I'm not. And so I tell the story and, I appreciate that people support me and I appreciate the confidence and courage to tell my story instead of just silencing it and pretending in a way that it's not happening. And it feels very freeing. It feels very healthy. And I'm really glad for the decision. Like I said, I appreciate the ownership. Like I say, yes, things have been said. And I'm not going to even say that I've always said the perfect things or the right things. We are not even, no, I haven't. I raise my hand to that. So, Chris is not the villain in this story. The villain is myself. The villain is me and that person in there that was so afraid to live, that had the paralysis analysis, that was just so broken down by life. I didn't know how to really thrive. I was just in this very closed-minded idea of how it was to survive. And so I'm here to say I'm really grateful for the experience. And sometimes we wait to do something because we want to be perfectly prepared. But sometimes in life, You just have to take the action and see what happens. You have to ebb and flow, because no matter how prepared you are, you will never be prepared for everything. So take that first step. Commit to the new job. Commit to dissolving a relationship that's not healthy for you. Commit to whatever it is and take the steps and see where the journey unfolds. So that was a good one. I don't know. I felt good about that. But I am so happy that you tuned in here. I really hope there's a little piece of a nugget in here, that maybe a seed that's planted that you can connect with and relate with. I'm so grateful for you tuning in. You keep me here in this seat every day. Thoughts of you, dreams of you, hopes for you. That is what keeps me going. So I'm very, very proud of you. I adore you. I love you. And so please go out there today, give somebody a big smile, give them a compliment, and just watch how they glow up. So thank you. Bye.